I'm Harry, and this is Drum Electric. So for starters, the DAW that I'm using is Logic. You don't have to use Logic. The process is exactly the same across everything. I just like Logic and I've used it for ages, and there we go. So if you're using Logic. If you're using Logic, this is what it looks like. I'm going to create a new audio track. There's my voice coming in there. Stunning. And then I'm just going to drag in my stems. There we go. Use existing tracks. It's asking me if I want to change it to 48 Hertz. No, I don't. Because I'm a crazy maniac. Here's the track that I'm working with. Anyway, I could listen to that all day. I think it's the greatest thing I've ever found. Anyway, beautiful track. It's full of, sounds like it should have a bunch of moustaches, you know, and like big glasses and everyone wearing some sort of neon. I don't know, that's just what's in my head and I think it's the best. Anyway, the first thing is, how do we find the tempo? Now, I'm using something from Epidemic Sound, so I know that it's 145 bonks per moose. That's what I'm going to call it, bonks per moose. But if I was using an actual song, I would go to this website, which is just songbpm.com, and you can just type in the name of the song and it'll give you the BPM. 145 bonks per moose, bonks per meese, bonks per meeses. So I'm just going to turn on the click and see if it's in time just straight off the bat. It is not. So what I want to do is find where beat 1 is. So I'm just going to go to where it all comes in, because I think that'll beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I know that here's where it all comes in. So I'm just going to highlight it all. I'm going to select, let's go to bar 19 so I have some space. I'm literally just going to drag it, zoom all the way in, drag it to about the start of, about there, about where the audio comes in. I nailed it. The key thing here, though, is to skip to the end of the track to see if it stays in time. All right, welcome into today's game show. That's what that is. Anyway, it's in time, which is good. Now, I've left 2 bars at the beginning, so we get... which means that we can now have a cue. So that means we can have 1 bar of click, 1 bar of time. So I'm just going to create a software instrument track. Again, I'm just using on Logic. You don't have to be specific to Logic, but if you want this click sound, then this is where I get it. Just going to drag that to the top because I like a bit of organization. If you are on Logic, then just make sure that you're using the sampler, the multi-sample and stereo. If you do click on that, you'll probably get this concoction pop up. A little bit terrifying if you're not expecting it, but you can just close that out because we don't need it. Then you just open the library, head into orchestral, percussion, orchestra kit. It's just built into Logic, so you can download that if you haven't already. Turn off all of that nonsense because we do not need any of it. And then I'm just going to create a bar and I'm going to use the woodblock sound because I like it. So I'm just going to put that an accent on beat 1 and then just on every other beat. Now it's already at maximum velocity, but if not, highlight it all and put the velocity to 127 because then it's at its loudest point. I'm just going to check. Stunning. Now you could just have that and that's absolutely fine. I just personally like to put the 8th note on there as well because it's a little bit nicer to play to. So to do that, I'm just going to put a shaker on all of the offbeats. I'm going to highlight those and I'm actually going to turn the velocity down to about 80 just because it just makes it feel a little bit nicer. There we go. You don't have to do that. I just like doing it. Makes it feel a little bit more musical. So I'm just going to now loop that for the rest of the track. Check the ending there. I'll put in beat 4. I'll treat myself. And there we go. Now I've got a click. So you'll see that I left a bar in the intro here. So I'm just going to create a new bar and that's just my bar of time to give me to let me know how quick the song is. So all I'm going to do there is I'm going to put the block on beats 1 and 3 to give me like a halftime bar. And then, so it's not silent in between. I'm going to put shaker on 2 and 4. It's like the equivalent of counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's kind of what I'm simulating with this. So that just sounds now like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have a beautiful synthy 80s wonderful time. Wonderful. And that's kind of it. So what I would do from there, just to export that all, because I might be using that in Ableton or something outside of Logic, like MainStage. If you wanted to check out how to run backing tracks with MainStage, you can check out my course just up there. So now what I do is I just loop around exactly the area that I want it to export. You can like drag in the end marker, but say if you're doing like a bunch of songs or you've got a little bit of faff at the end, I like to just put the loop around it just to make sure it's like, this is where I want you to export. So I'm going to solo the click, then I'm going to hit the bounce, the bounce button down by here on the stereo out, and then I can just export that however I want. And then I'll just go through, solo the next track, etc. until they're all exported. You can bounce them all and do it all at once. I just like to do it this way because it feels safer. Just one of those things where, you know, you've been doing something for so long and you could change how you do it, or you couldn't. It's basically what's happened here. And that's it. That's how I put a click track to a backing track. Super easy. There you go. If you do this any other way, please lob it in the comment section down below, because I'd love to learn how you guys do it. And if you have any questions, please also lob them in the comment section down below, because I'd love to help out wherever I can. Anyway, that's it. Hope you have a fantastic day.